Hello, I'm going to read you a little bit from Milo and Teal. This is the first book, Birds of a Feather. And let's see what they get up to in this book. So first I must tell you that Milo and Teal, can you see that picture? Two children, very happy. They live on a different planet to us. It's called the planet Zog. There's quite a few surprises about that, but we'll see. Come on this adventure. You'll notice there'll be quite a lot of pictures like this because these children love tree houses. I love tree houses, do you? I love tree houses. Anyway, that's just a side note. I better get to the story. Shall we see how it begins? Oh, there's a picture of someone in a tree house. I think it's Teal. Yeah, the crazy curly hair. And this lovely... it's Milo and Teal. Right, shall we begin? Tipping the balance. I'd like to introduce you to two extraordinary children, aged 9 and 12. Milo and Teal not only have hearts as big as their world, but they possess the power to inspire me to write about them. From far away on a distant planet, Zog, for Zog is their planet, a place shaped by their love for all things natural, coupled by intelligent thought. When ideas are hatched on Zog, they arise from the innermost parts of the people. Zogians are completely in touch with the wider guidance of the world within. What is the world within? Have you ever felt that? You know, that kind of little tiny little voice when it talks inside you? That's what I'm talking about. This is how these people live. So, and it's accessed by a happy mind and a true heart. Well, that's like all of you, of course. You know that place, don't you? Or when an idea pops into your mind because you're so darn happy. Well, that's how problems got solved, inventions got made, and conversations started between Zogians and nature. Yes, they do talk to nature. We'll find out more about that. And why am I bringing this story to your attention? Well, because we need them. Now, perhaps more than ever. And that's what Milo and Teal realised for themselves. The earth needed their inspired help. But all of that in due course. Let me begin by describing them in their natural habitats so that you can gain a feel of these people for yourself. This is a story about happy endings. Not the kind of endings where there's no juicy meat and potatoes to cut up and chew on, but the kind with satisfying mouthfuls of strawberry salad and yes, greens. It's a tale about two children, 9-year-old Milo and 12-year-old Teal, born like you and me with fully fledged points of happiness, unformed wishes, and deep desires. It's also a story of how they went about becoming real human beings, full of choice, creativity, and excitement. It's about leading the type of life that you or I would be proud to say was ours. It's a life story to sit back, to read, absorb, and learn from. You know, children may well be smaller than adults, even on Zog, but their intelligence, fresh as it is, and their little internal connection to all that's good is the strongest attractor of innovation in the universe. Remember that, my friends. Milo and Teal like to pose questions. One day whilst up in their treehouse, Milo spoke. Teal? Yes, Milo? I got this thing in my head, Teal. I want to be able to climb up to our treehouse whenever I like. Up, down, higher up into the tree. And I don't want to wait anymore until Mum shows up to do it. Teal listened carefully. She always did with her little brother Milo. Younger by 3 years, he was actually fun to be with. She liked him. She liked his ideas, his enthusiasm, and his adventurous spirit. It's all about your size, isn't it? You know Mum gets nervous when we stretch her ideas of safety. She wants you to grow big and strong first, like me, and then she'll let you out on your own. The answer was never going to be satisfying to such an active person as Milo, but he appreciated her tact. They all knew it wasn't because he was at fault or that their mother was a scared woman. No, she was not. She simply wanted her children exercising their freedoms in ways which would not result in their physical or emotional harm. Milo knew this. He knew it simply was not normal to let young people like himself climb up to such heights on their own, and they were heights. 7 of our metres up. Just imagine 7 metres. Have you ever met a really tall man? Sometimes they're about 2 metres. They're really, really tall people. So 1, 2, 3.5 of those. That's kind of high. So you can understand what's going on in this story. But nonetheless, he had to find a way around this or he'd feel restricted. Unless he could find a serious distraction. Miserable. Said Teal, thinking. Once I wanted to change the way Dad eats so much faster than all of us, so I asked him if he would eat slower. I wanted to join in with him at the meal table. I wanted to get to dessert at the same time. Well, as him, for a change, What did he say, Teal? Well, not much then, but 1 week later. While we were eating, I saw him wink at me and start chewing in slow motion. And he said that we had mulberry pie for pudding. That's all he said? Said Milo. Yep, Teal answered. He never replied to my request. He just did it sometimes. So if I asked Mum to do something different, do you think she could? That's what Milo was on the verge of forming an idea of what he could change in his brilliant 9-year-old mind. When in walked Milo and Teal's mother, right on cue. Mother, said Milo, if I wanted to climb up to the treehouse myself, would you let me? Now, Milo and Teal's mother was a generous sort of soul, generous in her outlook, in her freedoms, her behaviour, and usually happy to concede to, a point to her beloved children. But on this point, the point of climbing unaided up to the treehouse, below the grand age of 10, she was a stickler for correctness. Correctness, that is, of adhering to the laws of safety that she herself had laid down some time ago. It was not widely known in the family at this time, but many years ago, when Mother had herself been 9, she asked the very same question of her mother, not enjoying the response, which seemed mighty fearful and highly overcautious to her. She went on up, climbing to her treehouse anyway, and promptly fell down in amongst the thorns of the rosebush. When she heard her worried mother's nervous shrieking coming from the kitchen window from where she was being carefully watched, she felt shocked. It wasn't the thorns as such which had put her off from ever climbing unaided again, but the memory of that terrible sound uttered by her normally calm mother. Something in her despised the sound of that shriek, shrank from it as a delicate flower. Petals, sometimes appear to shrink from the heavy rain. She knew it felt bad to hear that sound, and instinctively she did everything in her power to never hear it uttered again. Milo took one quick look at his mother as she pondered his request in the light of her own story, and he kept his mouth firmly shut as he heard the 5 words, "No, my darling, not yet," being uttered from her mouth. 5 minutes later, Milo and Teal were once more on their own, as their mother had left for town to deliver the rugs she wove. Milo, being a persuasive sort of a chap, didn't want to let his treehouse climbing request lie, despite his mother's warning shot across the bows. "Teal." "Yes, Milo, what is it?" "Is there another way?" "Another way, Milo? For doing what?" "For asking Mum about the climbing thing." "You're not going to give up on that, are you?" Teal said. "No, I don't think I have to," replied Milo. He is persistent, isn't he? Right, let's see what happens. "Well, if you succeed with Mum, you'll have more success than me," said Teal. "Did you ask her the same thing, Teal?" asked Milo curiously. "Well, I did hedge around it. I too wanted to climb up to our treehouse on my own so that I could meet up with Fremy, who was up in her house across the fence. I was tired of having to wait until Mum could find time to help me. I wanted to be up and independent, busy in the thick of all the adventure being plotted at tree level." "Oh, I understand," said Milo. "That's exactly how I feel when you're not here. I want to be up, looking and listening at all the action going on around me, but instead I have to wait down there on the ground until Mum appears, with empty hands and time for me. Do you think there is a way? A way to change her mind, Teal, a way to change her decision. I get the feeling she hasn't thought about it much, but she still sticks to her no like the glue in my hair." "I know what you mean, Milo," said Teal, looking with curiosity at Milo's hair in order to spot the glue. I think I might have a plan. She proceeded to tell Milo all about it during the half hour that their mother was away delivering her rugs. I just need to show you, by the way. Look, this, I think, was the treehouse that her mother lived in. Can you see this sort of round? They love round things on Zog. These are the houses on Zog. They're made of trees. There's lots of glass in between, but these are tree trunks. And there's a house. There's another one behind it. There's a bit of one. There's another one there. Another one there. Oh, there's one. This is what their villages look like. Very different kind to ours, aren't they? It's like the whole place is a park. Well, so let's see what happens. What Milo and Teal knew that perhaps other children didn't was that a thing could be turned around if you found another way of looking at it. That thing in this case was their mother's opinion. They knew about the tipping point of a decision. If you could bring a thing around to weigh on the one side of the question more than the other, imagine a scales this way or that way, you would have won your desires. So for the next half an hour, Milo and Teal carefully went through every skill they had which helped them climb up with safety to their treehouse and stay there. Emphasise what we can do, not what's difficult to do, Teal said. So Milo listed all of his tree climbing skills. I have fingers which are long enough and hands which are strong enough to grasp onto the rungs of our rope ladder. Well, that's good, said Teal. You could show that to Mum when she gets back and you climb down. I have arms which are long enough to reach to the next rung, up and even to the platform handle at that last little gappy bit where the ladder runs out, said Milo. Well, that's good too, said Teal. You can show Mum your reach when she returns home from town. I also have legs which can push me up from the ground and even miss out a rung if I feel like it, said Milo, busily imagining the ascent to the treehouse, usually performed in the presence of his watchful mother. If you can do that, you can reach and push and support yourself, even if the ladder rung breaks and the rope swings to and fro. Teal was now excited and wanted to demonstrate this full palette of skills, which Milo so obviously had, and win over their mother. They would hold a demonstration. Say not one word about Milo's intention to climb up on his own, but simply reveal the skill, the dexterity and security felt by her little brother as he climbed the 7 meters up to the branches of the tree. We can show Mother just how well you can do it. Up and down, while she looks on. Don't say a word about doing it on your own. Just show her how well you can. I like that plan, said Milo. And so they forged a way to gently pivot the situation from not allowing Milo to climb to allowing him to. When Milo's mother got home later that afternoon, they put on a show. They climbed that tree up and down, slowly, speedily, and acrobatically. Each time they demonstrated a new strength and a new security, until at last, at the end of the show, Mother exclaimed all by herself, I didn't realise how strong you both were, Milo and Teal. Look at how sure and solid you've got at climbing that ladder. I think it's time to change my mind about climbing up alone. You look as though you two are little monkeys shimming up and down that tree trunk. How could I have ever doubted your safety? And Milo and Teal winked at each other. They tipped the balance and changed the way their mother was seeing them. They'd got what they wanted, not through force, no, but through inspired, coordinated action. And it was going to be a whole new golden age of time spent in the treehouse. Synchronicity between friends. Now, I'm going to read you some more in the next video. But have you got a treehouse in your garden? Have you ever thought of building one? Might be time to investigate it. I love tree houses. I spent a lot of my time up in trees. Maybe you could just climb a tree. Maybe there's one in the park. Maybe there's a tree you could get to know. But if there is a tree in your garden and it's strong enough to hold a tree house, that might be what you might want to think about. There are lots of beautiful pictures online you can find of tree houses. And sometimes, if you inspire them, your family will like to help you. So if I'm going to give you any kind of inspiration or exercise or invitation, it's look at trees differently, think about them, maybe even consider climbing them. Think about the way Milo and Teal did it. And if you don't have a tree and if you don't want to use a tree, why don't you just give yourself a different challenge? Maybe there's something you feel sure you could do. So practice it. Practice it. Try it out. You can always tell me in the comments how you're doing. But anyway, next video, we're going to find out what happens next. Well, they're going to be spending more time in their treehouse, so anything could happen up there. Birds, bees, people. See you soon. Bye-bye. Oh, please do subscribe and like this video. It will help more children have more fun with them. And you know you can buy this book, the Milo and Teal books, this one and this one. And you can buy them online as digital books or like this. Anyway, I will see you soon. Bye-bye.